Last Saturday, we held a memorial service for my dad at St. John's Lutheran Church in Oberlin, Kansas. At the beginning of the month, I had a dad full of life and joy, and by the end of the month, he is now enjoying unending life and joy in the presence of Jesus and all those who have died in the faith before him. My dad suffered a massive heart attack and eventually died from multiple complications. It was not an easy end, and the memories of his last days are difficult to dwell on. But I'm very thankful that he was a man who had been claimed by Jesus in the waters of baptism and had lived a life trusting Jesus and listening to his word and worship. He and my mom liked to listen to my sermons online in the later part of their life, and they would often comment, especially my dad, that a particular sermon failed to go over his head and hit the person behind him, instead hit him. Yeah, he had that kind of sense of humor. And I always appreciated that he enjoyed my preaching and that he found it to be helpful in his own walk with Jesus. I have found that the past 3 to 4 weeks to be one of the biggest challenges of my life and a real test of my character and even my faith. I felt at the end of my rope some days and completely overwhelmed on other days. I felt like I was on the edge of panic and didn't know what to do. And so I cried out to God for help and for mercy, and I want to share with you what kind of answers I received from my pleas to God. First, I want to say that I have never felt more weak in my own strength, and yet at the same time strong in the strength of Jesus. He was my constant companion and my rock that did not waver, even when I was a wilted reed. Even during the most overwhelming moments of this experience, and there were many, I came to the firm conviction that I would rather go through this challenge, or even worse, with Jesus, than to not have any of these challenges and be without Jesus. He is the one thing that I cannot and will not live without, come what may. And that is a gift and the work of the Spirit. Now, my desperation wasn't so much in losing my father, but in not knowing what to do in each moment of his care, and then also caring for my mom, who was in a different city 2 hours away. She also needed and continues to need care, and the stress of needing to be in 2 places at the same time was quite daunting. But even with this heavy burden, I would not have traded it if it meant being without Jesus as my closest companion and my Lord. And when needs arose, it was amazing to see how Jesus provided what was needed, and when things were provided, my heart, or when they were not provided, my heart was still calmed with the knowledge that, well, then Jesus doesn't need to give me that at this time. I will be okay with him, and that's going to be enough. I was amazed at how the Lord provided so many really kind and compassionate people to care for me along the way and for my family, both at the hospital in Kearney, Nebraska, and in Oberlin. The nurses, the doctors there in Kearney were unusually friendly and helpful. I mean, being in a small town, oh man, that is so different than being in Wichita. And when my attention turned to my mom and her care in Oberlin after Dad's passing, I found a whole community of people who just loved my parents and were eager to help me and them, or my mom. I mean, the banker that my dad used, the tax preparer, the lawyer, the postmaster even came to my house or my mom's house to see that the mailbox would work fine for her. The eye doctor that my mom was seeing, yeah, she was in between cataract surgeries this whole time, from one eye to the other eye. And their congregation of St. John's Lutheran in Oberlin, they were just all on our side and ready to help. And of course, also our family members in Oberlin, my dad's brother and his wife, my cousins. Yeah, it's such a big help. And soon, we will be bringing my mom to live here in Wichita and my childhood home will be sold. Yeah, I know. There's a heaviness of heart, but also a spark of new opportunities to have my mom just down the street, only a few minutes away, as opposed to 4 hours away. Yeah, I'll miss talking to my dad on a regular basis in our daily texts as I would send him great-grandson pictures of Noah. I will miss his stories, for he was a talker. I will just miss him and his way of small-town humor and living in northwest Kansas for all of some 82 years. But if you want to see a glimpse of who he was and his character, his faith, well, I am his son, and God has used this man to help shape and form me into the man of God that I am. And I'm learning that I can do hard things and even have some joy in doing them. And my wife, oh man, so thankful for her. And I appreciate the opportunity now to serve my mom, and I'm hopeful that, being in Wichita, it will be a blessing to her. I'm learning that God is always faithful, always there, good and present. I'm learning how to wait on the Lord, and not everything has to be tied up in a bow immediately. And in His Word, I put my trust. And I want to thank you, all of you at Ascension, for your prayers, your many cards, your well wishes. You have been so kind and so caring. And so I'm looking forward to preaching on Monday, Thursday, Good Friday, Easter Sunday, and the Sunday after, and sharing God's Word with you. So I look forward to seeing you all this weekend in Bible study and in worship.